Okay, this is going to be lesson 2 of our quotation rules. We left off with rule number 4, and that's going to be that you must capitalize the first word in the quotation sentence. So even if it's not the first word in the sentence itself, like Mary here, you always capitalize the first word in the quotation. So here the first word is today. That needs to begin with a capital letter. And then here, of course, so of would get the capital letter here. Pretty simple, straightforward rule. Now, let's talk about a split quotation. A split quotation is one quotation sentence that is interrupted by a tag in the middle. The key here to this rule is that you remember it is one quotation sentence. That's what can throw people off. All right, let's look at our example sentences. On Friday, began Miss Carlton, we will have fun. I think it would be helpful for you to see if I remove the tag. On Friday, we will have fun. That is one quotation sentence interrupted by the tag. So you have to end the quotation, write your tag, and then begin a new quotation. Okay? So quotation marks must be around both parts. The second part does not begin with a capital letter unless it otherwise is necessary, like if you're using the pronoun I or if you're using someone's name, then you should begin it with a capital letter if it's supposed to. And then separate sentences, that should say are not the same as a split quotation. Okay? How can you tell the difference? You can tell the difference by removing the tag. So again, like what I did earlier, if you don't have it on a Word document, use your finger. Somehow, visually remove the tag and see, am I dealing with one sentence or am I dealing with multiple sentences? Okay, so Ryan Lochte, began Bob, beat Michael Phelps. So if we remove it, we can see Ryan Lochte beat Michael Phelps obviously is one single sentence. And if we stick it back, then we have it's just one sentence divided by a tag in the middle. Note the punctuation of this. Of course, you're going to use your beginning quotations, and then you've got your PQ rule. You've got a comma and then quotation marks. After the tag, you're going to again, comma, quotation marks, beat Michael Phelps, period, quotation marks. So in a split, you're going to use that PQ rule 3 times. And note lowercase letter here because it's the middle of the quotation sentence. It wouldn't make sense to use a capital letter in the middle of a sentence, especially when you take out the tag. All right, let's look at the second example. Because he lost, stated Bob, Phelps will need to step up his game. So again, let's look at it and see, is this a single sentence? Yes, it is. So you have a dependent clause because he lost added to an independent clause. Phelps will need to step up his game. It's a complex sentence, but it's still, nevertheless, it's one sentence. So we're going to stick that tag right back in there. And then the last example, today the Queen wore blue, reported Bob. Yesterday she wore pink. Okay. Note the punctuation difference. You can tell if I take this tag out, hopefully you can tell, today the Queen wore blue is one sentence, one complete thought. Yesterday she wore pink, that is another complete thought. So in this sentence, we need to end the sentence after the tag and then begin another sentence. We cannot put a comma here. That does not work. It's not a split quotation. It's two separate sentences, so we need to end the sentence and begin the next one with the capital letter. Okay, take a quick review and we'll move on to lesson 3.